Ron Saharyan is the co founder of Profit First. Ron has over 15 years' experience in managing organizational growth, is a thought leader in business cash flow management, and is a popular speaker on the topic of profit. Having built multiple companies in the staffing industry, Ron leads the Profit First membership of world class accountants, bookkeepers, and business coaches who guide entrepreneurs to profitability. As you listen to this interview, I want you to ask yourself, even if you're not a business owner, what is one thing you can take away and apply to your health pursuits, financial goals, career, or anything pertaining to your life goals? I thoroughly enjoyed this conversation focused on the key principles of healthy financial systems, which can be applied to our healing of our body and our relationships. Let's get started. Hold up, one more thing. If you have not yet scheduled your 45-minute free exploration call to find out what the root cause of your symptoms are and your next steps to getting symptom free, you are going to want to pause this podcast and go do that right now. So I invite you to go to nutritionwithconfidence.com, book your free exploration call, and find out how to get your results.
Yeah, our guests, up to this point, we've mostly been interviewing nutritionists, folks in the health and wellness space. People might be interested to, wonder why we're interviewing someone who's in the business world, who's a consultant. And one reason is we've really been helped by your work in starting up Natalie's business, Nutrition with Confidence. We're big systems thinkers, right? So in this podcast, we're focused on like what are principles in any system. And so you're an expert in the business world of creating business systems that work for small business owners. And you and Mike McAllowit's work with Profit First has helped us so much as we've started our business to really
Sure.
get feedback from the business with what can we afford, what's the health of the business, and really prioritizing profit, right? Paying
Right.
our having the business pay Natalie for her work. And so, and also another piece too is we found, a connection, and there's actually literature to show a connection between one's physical and mental well-being and their income. I think it's up to $75,000. There is an association
Wow.
between happiness and income. And so just starting off, I'd be curious, like how that all fits for you. What comes up as I share those pieces.
Sure, sure. So, just a little background. My name's Ron Saharyan, and I'm co-founder of Profit First Professionals. This is the organization that the author of Profit First, Mike McAllowitz, and I co-founded to support the teachings in the book. We're a global organization of elite accounting firms, bookkeeping firms, and financial coaches that deploy the Profit First methodology across the globe. Our organization has representatives in over 40 different countries. The book's been translated into 30 different languages. We have over 1 million implementations of our system, and everything from startups who are using it as its fiscal foundation to $100 million companies, from the mompreneur that's making 5,000 to, the 100-year-old plumbing business in Brooklyn. And so, Profit First is not accounting. It is not bookkeeping. It is a system. Okay. It's a system that resides between financials, which are historical documents, and forecasting, which are hopes and dreams. This is an allocation method to make sure all of that happens. And so, it's also, you mentioned systems, Andrew. Most business owners understand the need for systems for growing. And when do you need a system? The time you think you need one, you probably already should have had one.
Yeah.
Okay. Um, but no one has a cash flow system,
Mm.
right? If you talk to any CPA, any bookkeeper that you might be working with that isn't a certified Profit First professional, and you ask them, hey, what is the financial pay yourself system that you run in your business and that you teach your small businesses? They're going to look at you like you got horns sticking out of your head. They're going to say, well, it's easy. Natalie, all you do is you sell, right? You sell, sell, sell. You manage your expenses. And then whatever you have left over, that's what you pay yourself with. Who wants to
That.
be paid over with leftovers,
Mhm.
right? Structurally, that makes sense. But behaviorally, it's wrong,
Mhm.
right? Behaviorally, what comes first is important. Behaviorally, what comes last is an afterthought. So we were talking earlier, right? Mike and I, we grew up together. We played on same sports teams. Mike was picked last for kickball. He
Mm.
was an undesirable. No, that's not true. But that you get it. The kid that's picked last is usually the undesirable for that sport. What we're
Yeah.
doing is we're saying the same thing about profit, right?
Yeah.
What profit is what you pay yourself with. Profit is what you pay your debt with. Profit is what you give raises with. Profit is what you're charitable with. Profit is what you invest in new technology with.
Mhm.
Profit is what you use to build your core capital of 3 to 6 months of reserve funds.
Mhm.
I don't know, in case
Mhm.
we have a pandemic. And so, the revolution of profit first is actually upsetting the cash flow world because no longer are you going to be paying yourself last. So
Yeah.
what we've done, we've flipped the equation where you still sell, 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 sell the bejesus out of your products, right? Then you take, of course, a little bit of profit. You take owner's pay. You got to pay yourself. Since you're profitable, you have to have money for Uncle Sam. It's part of the game. But also, how about security? 3 to 6 months of core capital in the home and the business. How about purpose, mission, vision,
Mhm. Mhm.
right? Take a little bit of all of that, then run the business on everything else.
Right.
That's kind of what the overarching methodology of profit first is. So we cross out sales minus expenses equal profit and write sales minus profit equal expenses. That
Right. So
capital P, yep, sorry, is representative of all those other things.
yeah, the shift in the focus is what you're describing, right? Like it's
Yeah.
not an afterthought anymore, the profit. It's the first thing that you in the equation that you're using.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. It's made a huge impact in so
It,
many
once one so
businesses.
the first thing that generally happens with profit first is when somebody reads it. Um, it's like the ice bucket challenge, right? They know their business isn't doing too well, but this is the first time maybe they run an instant assessment in the book, which is the calculation of just an easy calculation. Oh, and by the way, I have a special gift for your audience members that remain to the end of the episode, and I'll disclose that at the end. Okay. So
Ooh.
I got a
Awesome.
special gift for some select audience members. Okay.
Great.
Um, yeah. So I'm sorry, I just lost my train of thought on that.
That's
We
okay.
yeah.
That's exciting, a gift.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
Um,
were just oh, go on, Andy.
go ahead, Natalie.
Well, I mean, I mean, I think we were just talking about the impact of this and like one
Oh,
of the first
yes.
things that can happen for yeah.
Yeah. So the first thing is the ice bucket challenge. Once they realize they're like, but that's good. And the beauty of profit first, it doesn't matter where you are in your business. It doesn't matter what season you are in your business, right? It doesn't matter if you're 20K in the rears. This is a forward approach to managing your cash flow that is incremental and going to swing the percentage of money that's going out the door back into your pocket. And so generally, and Natalie, you can, agree or disagree with me, but generally what happens from my experience is when people finally accept profit first, when they've opened their mind to it, they now have a little bit of relief that they actually have a plan.
Mhm.
Then
Mhm.
the next thing is the plan is to move money. You're moving money from here to here to here to here.
Mhm.
That is often the first time people are in control of their money, and it's empowering.
Yeah.
Very right. It's empowering. You're in control. Like, yeah, man, I got this. Then you're right. You have relief, right? You have a plan. You're empowered. Now you're not worrying about what's going on. You're focusing on the growth of the business because all that stuff, the system is making sure that you're getting paid, that your expenses are in control, and you're profitable and you have money for Uncle Sam.
Yeah, it definitely helps me stay more focused on really service instead of this is a business, right? Because
Yeah.
I'm not in it for the money. Like I would do it for free, but I don't and I can't. And it's also better when there is value behind it. I found that the more I invested, the more money I've invested in my health, the better outcomes that I've gotten. So there's something to that element of the energy exchange, but absolutely it's freed up so much mental clutter in my mind because I know things are so organized with the financial
Well,
pieces
yeah.
that I just show up and can focus in everything that I do all for my clients and they get the best of me.
Well, and you realize people have money trauma. They also have various other types of trauma, and financial trauma is very deep rooted, right? And so, one of the issues is that when there's trauma, there's generally ill health,
Mhm.
right? Ill
Mhm.
health. Okay. And why are we making all this money if our health is horrible? We're not going to be around to enjoy it, right? And so, food's expensive. Good, healthy nutrition's expensive. Exercising properly is expensive. Having a trainer is expensive. Meal plans are expensive. A lot of this stuff is expensive, right? But the number one thing is your health. If your health is not good, then, you're going to be short-changed in your mission of delivering the services and the cures that you can provide.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. That actually leads me into kind of the question about you've talked about a shift in your experience with like running a business and then kind of focusing more on family first and
Yeah.
prioritizing. This is, we're kind of getting into this is like, how to prioritize in a system to keep it healthy for you. So
Yeah.
you talk about family first culture. Will you speak a little more on this?
Yeah, sure. Absolutely. So,
How you got
previous to this, I used to work in corporate, and corporate is pretty callous, pretty cold, a lot of fake relationships, and it's all bottom line driven by shareholder earnings when it comes down to it. And we're conditioned in the educational place to succeed in those types of environments, but that's not very good for the entrepreneurial or small business world. So a lot of people are taking their knowledge of corporate starting businesses and acting like that. I did that, right? And I was a jerk. I was a real jerk. And so when my wife also was an executive of one of the largest pharmaceutical companies. And when I started doing this and I've seen how she was treated, I've seen how I treated people, I've seen how I'm like, no way is this going to happen. I was working a job in Manhattan before this. My daughter was born literally the month before I started. I didn't see her for the first 4 years of her life, right? I was driving in, schlepping into Manhattan every single day, working my ass off, growing this company, sometimes working, 60 hours a week, right? Coming home, making hundreds of thousands of dollars. Okay. It's 250 minimum and up, right? That clouded my my anger, I guess, my frustration. I would be coming home, I'd be driving home from Manhattan, a blizzard or something happened, took me 6 hours one day, 2 hours normally. And but the money was clouding my happiness. We had the things. We could eat at restaurants, we could pay our bills, we could have nice cars and all of that. But I was missing something. There was a huge hole, right? And my whole thing was, I'm just got to make money. I just got to make money, 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 because I don't want to, you know, go back. I had some trauma. I've eaten welfare cheese in the past. I don't want to eat it again, right?
Mhm.
So I was like, I saw my relationship with my wife and my daughter going away, and it sucked. And so, I wasn't looking to change companies. It was just, I was told that Ron, you're doing a great job. We're done scaling. You've gotten the company to its all-time high in revenue, all-time high in consultants on the street. We're done scaling. I'm like, oh my God, I've just sacrificed the last 4 years of my life to now be capped. To now, and all along, I'm like, what else is out there? There's got to be something out there. I'm a success financially, but I'm not happy.
Mm.
I'm not happy. So it was an eye opening. And when we started doing Profit First, um, I was still wearing a suit and a tie in the basement of Mike's house. I hadn't made that conversion. It wasn't until we went to QuickBooks, where QuickBooks Online, right? They have a huge conference. It's an accounting software. They had a speaker there. The speaker is a famous lady, and there was a line waiting for her to everybody to watch her. And I know who she was. I'm like, yeah, yeah, big deal. So I went there. I got decent seats, but not great seats, but decent seats. But it was unbelievable. I felt like the speaker was talking to me. She was
Uh,
talking about being more. She was talking about being universal. She was talking about being so much more than just generating money and everything like that. And I felt like she was talking to me. And so I'm sitting next to Mike, I'm sitting next to Gabrielle Fontaine, and that's the first time I heard eradicate entrepreneurial poverty. That became our mission right there. And I'm like, oh my God, that's what I'm here to do. I'm here to teach. I'm here to educate. I'm here to help people make more money so they can put it in their bank accounts and live the lifestyle they want. And so, wow, I had my epiphany.
mm.
And then, but before I get to what happened next, would you guys like to guess who that speaker was?
I
Famous,
don't know. Was
Not
famous
sure.
lady, Oprah.
Oprah. Oh my
Oh.
God, I love Oprah.
I
She's
had an
my
Oprah
motivational.
moment. I had an Oprah moment. So the flex, the flex changed for me. Okay, the flex changed from creating, you know, money to creating opportunity. And
Mm.
so, yeah, I love cars. I love houses. I love trophies. I love all of that. But the real flex to me today is that I've designed a business that is family first, meaning no staff will miss anything that's important to theirs family ever, right? I don't care. We had a quarterly retreat, our first quarterly retreat. One of the admins came to me and said, "Hey Ron, is it okay if I miss this retreat?" 10, 15 years ago, I'd be like, what are you crazy? Go pick up a pink slip, you know? And I'm like, all right, what's going on? Oh, my daughter has, a seventh grade recital, blah, blah, blah. It's during the event. I'm like, all right, go. Right. She went, came back the next day crying. It was the first time that a boss had ever let her leave on work to go something else. She hadn't been with us for a year.
Mm.
She didn't realize it. Okay. Um, so what we've designed is a family first environment, which means exactly what I said. We also have half day Fridays all year long. We have two profit sharing components, quarterly cash distribution, then year end profit sharing that an actuary tells us to do. So that's two profit sharing components. We have quarterly book clubs. We have retreats. We give birthday cards, gifts. We have tithing. We also offer up to 8 weeks paid vacation.
Mm.
That's a
Incredible.
flex. Do you think I have
Yeah.
a problem attracting talent or retaining talent?
Mm.
Nope.
No. Because why? We're giving them a reason to get up early in the morning or other than a paycheck, right? You guys are in the best position because what you're doing, you're giving staff members in this industry another reason to get up. You are saving lives. You are helping. I mean, same thing with the HVAC technician. They're providing heat, warmth, comfort. I can't do
Yeah.
that, right? They are the knight in shining armor in the cold Jersey blizzards, Oregon blizzards, or whatever you guys got out there, right? That listen, they're the knights in shining armor.
Mm.
That industry needs to share that. Your staff, your guys' people, they are saving lives, they're extending lives, they're creating families, right? And so you can architect profit first Well, a certified profit first professional can architect the profit first cash flow and bank accounts to not only eliminate the pains, but achieve the wants.
Mhm.
How about wellness programs?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Right? Wellness
Yeah.
programs are expensive, but they're meaningful. So how do you start a wellness program? I'll tell you,
Yeah.
you test the elasticity of your cash flow. So let's talk about what a wellness program is. Maybe it's a gym membership, maybe it's, somebody coming on in, but whatever. We're
Mm-hmm.
going to have a monthly investment for that, right? Okay,
Mm-hmm.
whatever it is. So
Mm-hmm.
now what we're going to do, because it's important to the business owner, we're going to open up a new bank account. We're going to call that wellness. Okay. Then what we're going to do is we already know what the monthly investment is for this particular wellness program, right? So
Mm-hmm.
then twice a month, the 10th and the 25th, we're going to take that money out, okay, of OpEx, and we're going to strategically put it into this new bank account. Okay. Then we're going to see, can we pay all of our bills? Great. We
Mm-hmm.
did that. We pay all our expenses. Awesome. We do it another month. Can we still pay all our bills? Yes or no? Yes. We do it a third month. Can we pay our bills? No. Oh, what happened? Oh, so it's one of those months where there's only 20 days instead of 22. Somebody was late, but it caught up. What I've
Mm-hmm.
just done is tested the elasticity of the cash flow to prove that if the business remains the same, no ups, no downs, but consistently the same, we can make this investment in this wellness program. That's
That's
simple.
amazing.
It
How
doesn't, yeah, it doesn't have to be complex to be impactful, guys.
I
Yeah.
love I love that you just gave that example. And so how, like, getting more specific with that to test, well, let's go back a little bit. And how would you uh could you go over the basics of like setting up the principles of
Yeah.
profit first, and
Mhm.
then this example is like, expanding, or like what,
Yeah. This is a little more advanced.
a little more advanced, but I'm interested in that piece because I want to be able to offer more, and hire more nutritionists and offer more for that. So I'm interested in that expansion piece. And that was exactly what I needed to hear. So thank you.
Yeah, this is what we do.
And
So we have a new
yeah,
hire account. We always have a new hire account because one of the strategies of always be interviewing is a flawed strategy, especially if you don't have the money to pay the person, right?
yeah,
So what we do is we take that methodology. We have 25 bank accounts at 5 different institutions. We're an S corp. We're a global organization with lots of lines of revenue coming and going. My financial clarity is second to none, right? And so we have a new hire account and we apply the same principle
I
to
see.
that. So, what profit first is the methodology, the system. I relate it to grandmother's envelope budgeting methodology. This is how my mother was taught. This is how I was taught. Okay, literally. So
Mhm.
what happens is when grandmother's envelope budgeting is when my grandfather got a paycheck, just say it was $1. My grandmother had some strategic envelopes that were important to the household: rent, food, clothing, church, right? Those are pretty important. So when she got a dollar, she would divide that dollar up by percentages into those various different envelopes. So let's just say she divided it into four quarters. Okay, great. So now it's food shopping time, right? Now we don't take all of the envelopes. We only take the food envelope. The food envelope only has a quarter in it. So what we're doing is we're putting guardrails on the available money.
Mhm.
Because if grandma went with the whole dollar, maybe she'll feel like, oh, grandpa worked hard. Let's get some ice cream. Or, you know what? I'm sick and tired of ground beef. Let's get a filet. You can't do that with a quarter. So what she's doing is restricting and getting more out of less. Okay. She's getting more out of less. She's being innovative, being, inventive, doing more. Okay. So we're going to take that same principle and apply it to businesses. What are some important things for a business? One, owners pay. If you're not paying yourself first and foremost, Go get a jobby job because no one's going to sacrifice more than you. No one's going to put off their family more than you. No one's going to, cut vacation more than you. You need to be paid as the number one employee, right? So we're going to set up an owner's pay account. Number two, you got to be profitable, right? We're going to set up a profit account. Because you're profitable, Uncle Sam wants his money. We're going to set up a tax account. Then after that, we're going to set up your operating account. Okay. Then we're going to determine what is the percentage out of that dollar that's going to go into all these accounts. Whatever is left over is going to flow into your operating account. And that is what you're running the business on. So say 5% goes into owner's pay, or no, 10% into owner's pay, 5% into tax, no, 5% into profit, 15 into tax. You run the business on the other 50% or whatever that math is. Is that 50% left over enough to hire, right? Does it include marketing? Does it include spilt batter, burnt muffins, freebies, 10% raises, new technology, half day Fridays, birthday parties, charity? So that is kind of the profit first system overview. 5 foundational accounts. One's the holding account, owners pay, profit, tax, OPEX. Money comes in here. Then we divide it based upon the percentage here, percentage here, percentage here. Whatever's left over, we run the business on.
Makes so much sense. And you used a word there, restriction, right? You're setting limits in each of these accounts. And I think that this is a principle that's so important to highlight because with our own health and wellness journey with foods, right? We have all of these modern industrial foods, highly processed foods
Oh,
available to us that we get so addicted to, right? They engineer these foods to be addictive, and we have to put restrictions on these foods for ourselves as individuals, as families, in order for us to be optimally healthy. And it's the same with a business system. I'm guessing it's similar with personal finances too. I'd be
oh yeah,
curious to hear,
absolutely.
do you
Yes.
implement these practices with your own personal finances as well?
Yes. We live in New Jersey. We're going to have a blizzard. We're going to have tornadoes. We have earthquakes. We have everything you could imagine. I'm going to need a new roof. I'm going to need new paint. I'm going to need a boiler. I'm going to need an air conditioner. My driveway is going to crack, right? I've got a capital repair account, right? Also, here's another one. I don't know if you guys have kids or anything like that, but some of your customers and people have kids, okay? And if they have kids and they're involved in sports, okay, sports are expensive. I have a 13-year-old daughter. She runs track. They don't have a track. They run around the parking lot. It costs me $75. Okay. One of our members, he has 5 children. Each one of them is a Division 1 athlete. Okay. He spends close to $50,000 on sports travel leagues and coaches. That's a lot. My buddy Joe, my best friend, he's got a kid, Colton. Colton plays lacrosse and some other stuff. A lacrosse league, one league is $3,000 a season. He does 3. A stick is $100. A helmet is $100. Sticks break. They're plastic. We live in New Jersey. In the book, Mike couldn't afford to pay Adela, his daughter's riding lessons, horse riding lessons that were only $25. I never want my kid to not participate in what is important to them, whether it's sports, whether it's band, whether it's arts, whether it's science. Have a sports travel account, right? Start socking it away, laying it away, right? Right. Have your household budget. Allocate a fixed $100, $50, $20, whatever you can afford in there. And that way, your kid will always have you will always have funds available for sports travel. I would recommend opening up a vacation account if you've never opened up a vacation account. I would open up a pre-mortgage pay account if you want to pay down your mortgage. I'm mortgage free. It's the best. How'd I do it? By profit first and planning. Whenever you have enough time with profit first, you can plan, right? What we did is we planned to be mortgage free on our house. We opened up another account. We made an extra payment. We accumulated more money. We paid down the principal. We refinanced. Then 15, 20 years later, we're mortgage free. So yes, this can absolutely be applied to home. And here's one gift. I'll gift you a copy of this. My Money Bunnies, Profit First for Kids.
That's
Oh,
great.
that's perfect.
My daughter has envelopes. She's been doing this for years.
Oh, I love that.
We've got this in kids schools. We've got this in, not this one, but we've got Profit First in Pepperdine, Carnegie Mellon, Stanford bookstores. You know,
Awesome.
we're teaching this. We're teaching this to little kids. We're teaching this all over the place so that, you know, they become good stewards of fiscal responsibility.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
I've got one of these for the first person to call you guys, email you and say, hey, I want that My Money Bunny book. Then all you got to do is email me their address and I'll send it. I also
Perfect.
I love that.
That's awesome. That's so great.
5 copies of Profit First. Okay.
Awesome.
Oh, great.
5 copies for the first 5 people that
Yeah.
email you and say, I want that book.
Mhm.
Awesome.
Okay.
Well,
That's
that's so
perfect.
generous. And that
Yeah.
is the book that we started with when Natalie was opening up her business. We went to the bank, we opened the 5 accounts that you talked about earlier, and it's just we are so grateful that we started there rather than
Yeah.
having to
Yeah.
learn the hard way. It's been such a gift.
Yeah.
It's a fun way of life, quite
Yeah.
honestly.
It is. It's the systemized process of it. It's something you can always count on. And when you're describing of like testing I don't know the words exactly you said, but testing the
Living the
profitability, I
lie.
guess.
Living the
Yeah.
lie.
But well, so when you start to do this work, you start to realize so much more, I think, can accumulate. And I mean, we didn't expect that we could like buy a house with all this like bonus money that we ended up getting at the end of the year, but or
It's
even
crazy,
just
right?
yeah, or even realizing, oh wait, I can actually pay myself more or do these kinds of things. And it's you set up what you need and you realize there is so much more abundance than you think. You can actually draw from that and use that in other ways. It was really it was amazing because like you're
It,
just practicing these little bite-sized practices of restraint and then boom, there's like all
yeah.
this more abundance for you.
It's so we're removing the temptation and well, the 401k is the number one savings vehicle in America. Why? They take it off the top and they
Mhm.
remove it from temptation.
Yeah, you don't even see it. You don't
That's
see the
profit
money.
first.
Mhm.
That's profit first,
Yeah.
Yeah.
right? My wife and I, when 401 came out, we put in 3%, then we put in 5, then a year later we put in 15. And I remember saying to Mary, can you believe we're living the same lifestyle with 30% of our top line salary going somewhere else? How the
Yeah.
hell did that happen?
Wow.
Same thing with profit first, right?
Yeah.
You're like, oh my God, how did this happen?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. It's a can you speak about like the origins? Is this there's something psychologically going on here? Do
it's
you
all
know much?
behaviors.
It's
Yeah.
just behaviors, human behavior.
And so
Yeah.
profit first will leverage your human behavior. Okay.
Mhm.
It's human behavior for us to want to know to do bank balance accounting, which is waking up every day, opening up our bank accounts and determining what decisions we're going to make on paying and stuff like that, not realizing that a lot of that money should be allocated already to those bank accounts. Okay.
Mhm.
Um, so,
Mhm.
Northcote Parkinson, okay, is a theorist and a historian. And he basically theorized that humans are going to consume all of the available resources given to them at any given point in time. Stephen
Mhm.
Hawkins also echoed that. That means basically, if I give you a project to build a website and the deadline is 10 weeks and the investment is $10,000, you're going to spend $10,000 and it's going to take you 10 weeks. I give that
Mm.
exact same spec to Andrew, give him $15,000 or give him $5,000 and condense the time frame to 5 weeks. He's going to get it done in 5 weeks and he's going to spend all the money.
Mm.
Okay. That's what
Mhm.
happens. It doesn't matter. And so the opposite, what is so unique? That's not unique. We get that. But what is so unique is the flip side. The flip side of Parkinson's is when human beings, okay, have less resources. We're going to be more creative, more
Mm,
innovative. We're going to try to get more out of less. And so you experience this every single month. Everybody who hears my voice hopefully experiences this. Okay. Probably twice a day, I might say.
Mm.
How? You brush your teeth, right?
Mm.
So when you get a new tube of toothpaste, right, you lay it all out, you brush your teeth, great. But towards the end of the month, right, you're cranking it on the corner, right? You're rolling it up, you're squeegeeing it, you're playing that turtle head game, right? Trying to get that little bit. And so you get that little bit, you brush your teeth, some falls off, you scrape it up, brush your teeth some more. Your mouth is clean. But when you're cranking it, when you're rolling it, when you're buying that squeegee thing, when you cut it, I cut my tube of
I
toothpaste.
I was just gonna say we've done the same thing.
Yeah, I still cut it.
Yeah,
I've
yeah.
probably spent less on toothpaste over the year of my lifetime than most people. Why?
I
Because
love
I
it.
get an extra week out of it by cutting it, but I can
It
afford a whole tube, right? And so it's all about getting more less. And that's what we're doing with your bank accounts. That's what we're doing with your business.
mm,
And that's what happened when COVID first hit. All the innovation, all the change, all the moving to this, to that. It was crazy. It was exciting. It was awesome. And then all the PPP money came and all the innovative and all the warts got covered back up
mm,
and everybody started to do what they were always doing. Those that continue to innovate and innovated through it, holy cow, they're champions. Those that had implemented profit first previously made it through with flying colors. Why? They had multiple bank accounts with money squirreled away all over the place.
yeah. And Ron, that's a great segue to this question about the vault account. You mentioned that earlier, and we have started to develop a bit of a cushion in the owner's comp account.
Okay.
Will you speak to what a vault account is? And maybe we don't have one at this point. W- Why is it important to start a vault account, and how systematically do you fund that and create that? I think you said 3 to 6 month
Yeah.
buffer for the business. Will you speak a bit to that?
Yeah, absolutely. So, regional disasters are happening all the time. California is going to burn. The Midwest is going to flood. The Gulf Coast states are going to get crushed by hurricanes. We're going to get flooded and had nor'easters. These regional disasters are decimating businesses year after year after year after year. Having a
Mm.
vault is paramount for the livelihood of your household,
Mm.
okay, in case these things happen. Sometimes insurance covers it, sometimes it doesn't, right? It's
Mhm.
but natural disasters and things like this are happening. So it's good fiscal policy to always have a war chest stashed away in case a rainy day, right? You call it a rainy day. You can call it an oh shit, right? You can,
Yeah.
and who knows what happens. But what it is your company and your family's safety net. So you can't just take 10% out of your OpEx and move it over there. You have to strategically do it. And that's the beauty of Profit First. It's a living, breathing system. So what I would recommend doing for you guys, I would open up a vault account. Okay. One of the things, but before you do that, I would also take a look at what your retirement looks like. Are you funding your 401ks to the hilt? Or do you have alternative investment strategies going, stocks, bonds, mutual funds, right? Are you properly insured? right? Is your
Mm-hmm.
household insured? Okay. What are you looking to achieve? Are you looking to achieve another location, right? Because then you need the core capital to build another building. Okay. And so you can simultaneously do all of this with the planning of profit first and just start small. That's the
Mm-hmm.
key, to start small. If any of us were to like, I hurt my shoulder. I had rotator cuff surgery a couple of years ago. I haven't been back to the gym. And if I were to go to the gym and put on 300 pounds on the bench press, it would crush me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Just like profit first. You can't be divvying up all this money into all these bank accounts
Yeah.
if you've never done it before. So my advice is always to start small. It's the only time I tell a business owner to lower the bar. Start with
Mm-hmm.
1%, 1.5%. Start building your profit first muscle memory. Start
Mm-hmm.
building it, then start stacking accounts, then start stacking percentages. As you grow with your business, in the beginning stages, it's a lot of fun to get more in owner's pay, more in profit, more in tax, and that's fun and that's great. But what really counts is when you're making major changes. And when I mean that, when you're really moving percentages. So if you do your instant assessment and you're 80% out the door and 20% in your pocket, then how great would it be to go to 70-30, sixty
Mm-hmm.
forty, 50-50, reverse it
Yeah.
60-40? Imagine you two. Well, I don't know what your overhead is or anything, but imagine going from 80-20 to 60-40. Holy cow.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we want to do. We want to move percentages like that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And a
Yeah.
final tip, when in doubt, open an account.
Mhm. Awesome. And then just uh where do you usually take that extra percentage if you started with like all the
OpEx.
percentages? Oh, okay, OpEx. Yeah.
Yep,
Okay.
absolutely. So what technically a lot of the things that I'm sharing might be considered owner's pay, but as a profit first professional, we know how to go off script. We know how to architect it. We know how to use the craftsman tools of the trade to do certain things without, I
Mhm.
mean, the book's the tip of the iceberg, right? What we teach is below the waterline.
Yep.
Yeah, the
Mm-hmm.
book's enough to get you good. The book's good, right? But the book also done wrong will ruin your business.
Mm. It's
Yeah.
luckily it's really helped us. I think I mean, I think it's written simply enough to like where I was going to say earlier actually that you can't really do it wrong, but you just said maybe you could.
Yeah, so many people do it wrong because what they're doing is they're opening up all these bank accounts. They're taking too much of a starting percentage, right? Something's happening. They abandon the system because it doesn't work. Their accountant tells them, "Oh, you don't need all these bank accounts, blah blah blah. Let's just do it on a spreadsheet," and it doesn't work. Or they start
Mm.
collecting income and writing checks out of all these different bank accounts, and it's a reconciliation nightmare,
Yeah,
right? And so
I see. Hmm. Yeah.
there's a lot that could go wrong. Okay. But also it's profit first book is used to stabilize a company,
Hmm.
right? It's
Hmm.
used to fix. What we're doing is using it as a growth tool. Some of the tips that I shared with you guys, these extra accounts and how to go about them, none of that stuff's in the book,
Right. Right.
right?
That's why
Yeah.
we were excited to talk to you. But one actually question on this, that like our society really emphasizes that growth mindset. And what are your thoughts on the impact of this for small businesses and people's finances in general?
So
Yeah.
yeah, I bust the doctrine of sacrifice. I don't believe any of that BS that you have to, 5 years to be profitable, sleeping on your mom's couch when you're 30 years old. I'm running a startup, blah, 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 blah. I'm plowing everything back into the business. Bullshit. There's a better way of doing stuff. It doesn't have to be that way. It really doesn't have to be. You can literally, if with regards to profit first, the first thing I tell people, you got to be open. You got to be open. Okay. That's the first step, being open
Hmm.
to this. The next step is now we need to strengthen our mental fortitude. because everything that we do that's new is difficult. And we're going to have that devil saying, "Oh, this is too hard. Oh, you don't need to do this. Oh, you don't need to do this. You don't need to do this. Oh, look, Ron, it didn't work. Oh, yeah, that person said, oh, they're right." No, this is where we strengthen our mental fortitude to learn. What's happening is where our brain is refiring. These mental synapses are relearning. That uncomfortableness is the gain in the growth. And too many
Yeah.
people quit,
Mhm.
right? So anything that you're learning new, strengthen your mental fortitude. How do I know this works? My daughter, she's awesome at TikTok. She sucks at Spanish. W- right? I had to deal with her overcoming the suck of TikTok. Oh, hold on, Dad. Oh, I got to learn this camera. Oh, I got to do the dance. Hang tight. I'll get it right. I'll do it. Constantly, 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 constantly.
Yeah.
Hey, Jane, how about doing the same thing with Spanish? Now, don't judge my parenting, anybody. Okay. But right? She clearly is not embracing the suck of learning Spanish as she did TikTok,
Yeah.
but she's so close. And so we've been working on it. We've been working on repetition. We've been working on lowering the bar. We've been working to the point where now she's enjoying it.
Mm.
Yeah.
That's
You
so
touched
great.
So
on that.
top
Mhm.
line, guys, top line means top line's vanity, vanity.
Mm.
Okay. You know, I don't care what your top line is. What do your employees say about you?
Mm. Mhm.
Yeah, you've
Right?
been touching on this concept of small changes, both with the bookkeeping, but then also with that concept I'm hearing being uncomfortable, right? And cultivating that discipline. It's one small step at a time. Whenever we're learning a new task, right? It is just that repetition and practice to implement what's new. Change is hard, and we need to continue to change in order to be successful in the world. So it's
Yeah. Well,
that
you
really
guys
resonates.
proved that you have the mental strength to persevere and learn something new, right? And so you knew when you started Profit First, the path was not clear. There's no
Right.
way you knew what was going to happen,
No clue.
right? But you knew
Yes.
you knew what the next step was. Everybody knows what the next step is. Just keep putting one foot in front of the other.
Mm,
That's
Mm-hmm.
it.
yeah,
Eventually, the path will be clear.
yeah,
Yeah. It's so true to the changes, the lifestyle changes and nutrition changes that I work with my
yeah.
clients. Cause I tell people you don't have to be 100% sure to do something, right? Like you just have to be sure enough and believe and, maybe 80% bought in that it's going to do something. You don't know exactly what that's going to be, but we have to commit to something before. Otherwise, we're not going to do anything, right? There's a lot of people who, oh, I know I need to do that, or I know I want to do this and exercise or change my diet, but they don't ever do it. And I think it's like getting back to kind of the why of like, why are we doing this? And like, what is the purpose of these systems and practicing the step by step approach? And it's really like whatever your values are. But yeah, like what is the purpose, like the mission of, you kind of mentioned at the beginning, but what's like the mission of Profit First in your eyes?
Yeah. So our mission is to eradicate entrepreneurial poverty. If business owners can be paying themselves first, have money for Uncle Sam, and even if their profit is 3.5%, they can pay down their debt. They can celebrate the health of the company or they can hire. When businesses can hire, people have jobs. When people have jobs, it relieves a lot of the stress from the home life. That's
Beautiful.
simple.
Mm,
So beautiful.
I love
Yeah.
that. And Ron, I've heard you talk about on a different podcast how you emphasize offering packages rather than like an hourly service rate. Will you
Yeah.
talk a bit about the benefits both for a business owner or
Sure.
practitioner in offering packages and also potential benefits for clients as well?
Yeah. So now you're speaking my language. I love pricing. I love the
Mm.
behavior principles of pricing. I love three-tier pricing, Goldilocks pricing, whatever you want to call it. So what we're talking about is providing the customers with choices. Okay, primarily three choices. It's been scientifically proven that when you offer somebody a choice, it's take it or leave it. That's why a single quote, if you were, hey, what's it to work with it? Here's my quote. I'm going to look at it and it's take it or leave it. And it also invites negotiation.
Mm.
Okay.
Mhm.
Now, if we offer two quotes, it's still take it or leave it. Okay. And offers negotiation. Three, however, has been scientifically proven to put the buyer in the position of power to choose.
Hmm.
Four choices or more confuses the person and they avoid it.
Mm.
Okay.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
you'll see that if the big boys are doing this, McDonald's, Wendy's, Starbucks, all of the three tiers, you'll see the power of three on car commercials now and all sorts of stuff like that. So what happens when they're faced with choices? Heuristics comes into play. Heuristics are snap decisions that we make based upon previous experiences. So three tiers usually, and they call it Goldilocks pricing, most people select the middle package. The middle package because it's the safe package. Usually, okay, like the main one is too hot, too many services, it's overkill. I don't need all those bells and whistles, and I certainly don't want to pay this much. The next package, done right, is generally 90% of what they want. Has all of the information that you want to deliver, is your best program, and it is the price that you want. Okay. The bronze or the other position, that needs to be skinny, 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 and half the price of the middle package. Okay. So let's
Mhm.
just say, for an example, your service, you have a plan to earn $1 million. Okay. The average annual investment per customer is $20,000. Right there you go. So now, if that's the case, then we're going to put $20,000 as the floor in the middle package. Okay. We're going to use a multiplier, a 2.5, to get to the luxury package. That's 50 grand. We're going to use a half multiplier to get to the bronze. So Goldilocks pricing. Holy cow, this is overkill. This is overkill. We're conditioned to negotiate the first price we have. We're conditioned to have sticker shock. Holy crap, 50 grand. I don't want to pay that. Boom. This is what I want. It's not as hot. It's pretty much everything I'm looking for. 20 grand. Holy cow, look at that relief.
Mhm.
Wow. Then skinny, 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 but at least for half price, I can get in the door there. Now they're evaluating the silver and the gold. Okay. The silver, right, looks very similar to the gold in terms of services, right? Therefore, makes the silver more attractive. So we're
Mhm.
using the services to confirm the middle is the right package from a workflow perspective. We're also reinforcing that the middle is the right price based upon the polls.
Mhm.
Okay. Now, what happens is if you're competing against somebody that has a one quote, they can't compare you. Because what I do when, say, you're painting a house, landscaping or whatever, you get three quotes. What I do is I think I do a great job telling every one of them what I want. I then flip to the last page. One's expensive, one's in the middle, one's cheap. The cheap guy's going to bang me over the head. Oh, that isn't included. Oh, that isn't included. Oh, we didn't talk about that.
Yeah.
The rich guy, okay, that he doesn't really want my job, but if I pay a premium because he's busy, he'll take it.
Mhm. Mhm.
So what's the safe option? The middle option. So that's the theory of three tiers. I've applied this in flower shops. I've applied this in optometry offices. Every one of our accounting firms offers it and does it and stuff like that. The goal is to have the middle package really be the center focus. So each deal you do, they pick the middle package. You're on plan to do this that will result in top line. Holding to the profit first principles will put X in your pocket.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
And I think some people, especially if there's nutritionists or health practitioners listening, they may be having some hesitancy with the idea of packages, what if, because it's a big lump sum. What if I'm, keeping certain people from my services? I want my services to be accessible. What do you say to those sorts of concerns?
Um, what do you want to build? Okay. And there's three types of restaurants that I relate it to: fast food, mom and pop, fine dining. Each one of those are great business models, but how you market, build, and deliver those services are totally different. One, me and my wife, we split a value meal. I had a cheeseburger. She had the other one, came in a paper bag wrapped in paper. It was delicious. For my birthday, I'm going to Capitol Grill. I'm getting $65, $75 filet. They use their menus as price discrimination. Why? They don't want you bitching and moaning about the price. You got to pick what you want to build because that matters. Because if you're going to build a fine dining establishment, you're going to have to divorce yourself from those that only can afford a Happy Meal.
Mm-hmm.
You can't, you can't, there's no such thing as a $10,000 Ferrari. It just doesn't exist. There's not cheap and good. And it's just not possible. So if you want to go for the low hanging fruit, great, go for it. But in order to, and you have to be incongruent with what you want to earn, what you want to build, who you want to serve. Right. So
Right.
if you want to serve that population, great. If you want to serve all of the population, you're a general practitioner.
Right. Yeah.
What do you want to be?
What about, so would you just make a account for say like to grow an account to maybe offer scholarships for some people who, if you
So,
want to have
yeah.
you had mentioned
Yeah. So one of
charitable.
the charity,
Yeah,
let's talk
charity.
charity.
Yeah.
Let's
Yeah.
talk discounts, right? You
Yeah.
have to have great rack paying customers in order to afford charity. So you
Mhm.
have to model out for every 5 rack paying customers, I can take 3% from each one of them or whatever the percentage that equates to providing a free service to charity.
Mhm.
You have to build it in. You have to build it in, and then you have to make sure that you have your rack paying customers that can afford that. Now, if one
Mhm.
of these rack paying customers leave, 2 of them leave, 3 of them leave, and you're still here on charity, you got to make it up big
Mhm.
time.
Yeah.
So that's why profit first is great because you can have, if it's not in an account, you can't buy it. That's simple. Same thing. If you want to build out, okay, we have charity. So on the low end, membership is $10,000 a year. I have $10,000 sitting there that I can draw off if somebody, has something happen to them or something like that. We can't afford to upset our cash flow with charity discounts, freebies,
Yeah.
spilled batter, burnt muffins. We just can't. So we have to allocate money for that. If we want to be helpful,
Mhm.
right? We have to have the money to be helpful.
Mhm.
Otherwise, we're hurting ourselves. Each time you discount a customer, you're discounting your family. And we need you to be profitable. I need
Yeah.
my therapist, my doctor, my nutritionist, my lawyer, my accountant, my coach to sleep well at night.
Yeah.
Anybody, if you're working with an accounting firm, bookkeeping firm that says, oh man, there's 60 hours, 80 hours, oh, me and my staff, run for the hills. Why do you want to work with an accountant or a bookkeeper that is tired? They're
Yeah.
going to make mistakes,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
right? If I'm going to your office and you're like all sandy eyed, you're like, oh, Ron, man, I've been so busy. I was stacked with customers, blah, 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 blah. You're not focused on me. You're
Yeah.
focused on something, just trying to keep your eyes open. I'm walking out the door. I'm giving my money to somebody else.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
We need you to be profitable.
I love it. You also just said something a little bit ago that you have to have money in the accounts, and that's that. Like that's your barometer with making some of these decisions in a business or even from like a household perspective. So, what would you say to people who say we live in a debt society, so it doesn't really matter if you have debt? Yeah, what are your thoughts on debt?
Nah. I mean, if you know how to manage debt for growth, that's one thing. But if you're managing debt to survive, that's not going to work. You're never going to get ahead of it. You will never get ahead of debt if you're using lines of credit, credit card, and other debt to manage your debt. It's just no.
Mm-hmm.
And no. And what's going to watch that mortgages, credit cards, they're horrible deals, guys.
Yeah.
If you can, if you can't afford it, don't buy it. Don't live in the comparison life. I don't compare my revenue or my stuff. You can't.
Mm-hmm.
It'll just kill you. So, what I say to people is focus on being the best business you can be. Don't worry about your competition. Don't worry about other people's KPIs. Be the best you can be. Don't worry about averages. Averages suck. If anybody ever said, hey, Ron, you're average, that's a slap in my face. I would never tell my daughter to go to the teacher and say, hey, Miss Lehman, what is the average grade? I want to shoot for it.
So that's a good analogy. I love that.
Yeah. But that's what people are doing.
Mm,
That's what coaches are doing. No, this is about being the very best you can be,
mhm,
purposefully planning, purposefully, living a lifestyle. This is not a get rich quick scheme.
mhm,
Mm.
mhm. It's sustainable, right? Like this is like the low, slow, sustainable system that's going to get you build wealth over time.
It's the number
And
one neglected system in all businesses.
yeah,
And Ron, I'm
wow.
curious, you have had a very successful career, like you're sharing earlier. Your focus was, on money initially, and you've shifted to a place where it seems like you've really just found purpose in your work. You're helping to eradicate entrepreneurial poverty. And I think pretty much everyone in our society agrees that we want people to find what, they're passionate about. We want to support small businesses. I see this movement in our society, and I'm just really hopeful because there's a lot of jobs out there that people are in, they're just not happy. So for people who are listening who are in a job where they're not happy, or maybe they're just in a place in their life where they're curious what direction to head work wise, maybe they're thinking about starting a small business, what sort of advice would you have for those sorts of
Yeah.
folks?
You can change the channel. You
Mm,
have the ability to change your channel. I started off in high school and college as a welder, making industrial ovens, washers, conveyor systems. Then after that, I got a job as an investigator in Washington, D.C.,
mm,
public defender service, investigating felony ones, murder, rapes, arsons. Then I got into technical staffing, did that for, 10 years, right? Then after having a great career in that, did this, been doing this for 10 years. My advice is don't be looking for your passion. Okay. Your passion will find you. Too many kids today are being taught find your passion, find your passion, find your passion. Don't find your passion, find your work ethic. Grow your work ethic. Get good,
mm,
enjoy getting good at whatever job you currently have. When you get good at that job, okay, you're going to succeed because you're developing that work ethic. Whatever it is, get good at it, be the best at it. You will find your passion. But if you start looking for passion, yeah, how do you know? You don't know. I like I'm just finding mine, right? Like I'm passionate about helping. I knew that, but I didn't know that,
Mm.
Yeah.
right? So, listen, if you're 22, 23, 30, get good at getting good,
Yeah.
right? And here's
Yeah.
the tip on how to get good. Ready? This is it. This is so simple. This is how you become a rock star in life. Husband, wife, student, employee, business owner. Do what you say you're going to do by when you say you're going to do it, and do it 3% better than expectations. You do that every day, you will be the rock star that everybody's looking up to because you're doing what you say you're going to do by when you say you're going to do it.
Yeah.
Isn't it amazing that that's rare? And an example is, I got a pool. I have a pool company. So the pool guys, they clean the pool. They did their job. I'm not happy with that. I tell the pool kid, listen, you want a tip? You want a promotion? You want to be better than that other kid that's doing that? This is what you do. How about you line up my chaise lounges? How about you roll up the hose?
Mm.
How about instead when you cut my grass, you don't run over all the lacrosse balls or the hoses,
Yeah.
right? Don't throw your cigarette butts into my fucking yard. Pick them up, right? It's the little things,
Yeah.
Yeah.
right? So
The
imagine me
attention to
coming home
detail.
from a day, hard day, I want to go to the pool, and the pool's clean. The chaise lounge aren't all over the place like they were the night before. The covers are nice and organized, and the hose is wrapped up on the hose thing. I know my daughter and wife didn't do it. These guys did it. Ron, how do you like your pool group? They're awesome. Not only do they do a good job cleaning, they straighten up the place. That's
That's
what I'm
awesome.
talking about.
Yeah. Focusing
Yeah.
on what you're doing well, rather than focusing on what is my passion? What am I going to move? What
Yeah,
am
and
I doing
if you
right
find
now?
your passion, if you happen to be compelled and you find it at an early age, God bless you. But most kids, most adults don't look for your passion because, look to get good at getting good,
Yeah.
regardless of what it is. Enjoy the suck of learning.
Yeah.
It's more process oriented instead of results focused, right? Like you just that's part of it is the going through the motions and like perfecting
Yeah,
those
the results will be
actions.
excellent. If what my whole thing is, if you pay attention to the details, the big picture is always going to be clear, right?
Mm. Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
when you're working in a job and you don't like the job, okay, still work on those details. Still be good at it. Still be good
Mm.
at it. Still be good at it. Yeah, you might hate the boss. You might hate this. You might hate everything. But guess what? Screw them. This is you. This
Mm.
is about you and your picture. What does the picture look like when I stand back as the boss or the owner of the company and look at your work? Is the picture a mess or is it nice? I don't
Mm-hmm.
care if you hate you. You think I liked every boss I worked for? No. But do I want every employee to rank me as their number one boss because I've helped them achieve what they've always wanted to achieve? Yes.
Mm-hmm. Wow. I love that. Can I ask you just like one more question? I know we're probably getting close to time, but um, yeah, what are the top 1 to 3 priorities that you wake up in the morning and like these are the things like you focus on or, you know, mindset, or even actions that you do?
My daughter, my wife, those are the first two things. I, take my daughter to school every day. I'm up with my wife every single morning. That's it. That's what I'm doing all this for. Right.
Mm.
My other thing is, I live by one simple commandment, and that's do unto others as you would like them to do unto you.
Yeah.
Oh,
Awesome.
awesome. No lying, cheating, or stealing.
Okay.
That's good.
That's it. 3 rules. 3 rules. Do what you say
Awesome.
you're going to do. Right. Right. No lying, cheating, or stealing. And what was the other one? I just forgot it. I don't know, but it's there.
Yeah.
Oh,
Do unto
your
others.
family. Yeah.
Oh, your family. Yeah.
Focusing
Family
on
first.
your daughter. Yeah. Yeah.
Family
Yeah.
first.
Ron, yeah. Well, this has been such a nice conversation, Ron. And
Yeah.
in wrapping up here, if listeners are interested in learning more about your work, learning more about Profit First, where's the place to direct them?
Sure. Profitfirstprofessionals.com. Spell it on out. There's a hamburger thing right on the right. And you click find a Profit First professional, or turn your accountant or bookkeeper into a Profit First professional. Have them call me so you don't have to learn this, so that they can do it for you.
Mm,
That's great.
Right. And
Yeah.
also, I'm active on LinkedIn and I'm active on Facebook.
all right.
Oh,
Well,
thank
thanks so much
you.
again, Ron. It's been a really nice
It
conversation.
was my pleasure. And I hope, and I'm looking forward to mailing out those books.